And they're fighting. Alright, we'll try that again. Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting Duckman production. Right here behind me is my Volkswagen Bus go-kart. You guys will see me working. This is the charity build that we will be putting in our car show for a giveaway. Now, we've postponed it till 2025. So anybody that's bought a ticket, we're going to give you a free ticket this year for this year's Volkswagen guitar raffle. And we're going to give you a ticket for next year, so that way you guys get 2 tickets. So thanks for joining us. Anyways, right here on this one, we've got the body off of it currently. Let me turn this microphone around so you guys can hear me a little better. I'm sorry for all the rumbling that it does when I do that, but there it is. There's the go-kart. We got the engine mounted up on it last I checked it. I brought a brand new belt for it so that way we could get it fitted. Otherwise, the engine should run and work as is. Also, recently, I went through the tires and other accessories on here to get things mounted up properly. And at this point, now they hold air, which is really, really nice. This thing rolls. I've got to replace the front wheels and a few other things. But for all of my small engine needs, where do I go? I go to the HIPA Store.
Wait a minute! Before we go any further, let's take a moment to talk about the HIPA Store. The HIPA Store has been good to us here at DuckmanCycles. They provided all kinds of parts for my outdoor power equipment and even had some stuff for my go-kart engine needs. And I never expected it, but it's amazing how many of my fans have written to thank me for referring them to the quality and inexpensive parts that the HIPA Store provides. You too can support me by supporting the HIPA Store through the links down below in the video description. Special thanks again to the HIPA Store for sponsoring this video.
Alright, we got us a brand new Bitti. Unbelievable. I just get started again, and again you're gonna fight with me. Come here, buddy. You need to protect your daddy. Come here. Come here, protect me. Protect me. Come on, get him. Get him. Get him off of me. Come get him. Come on. He's attacking me again when I'm trying to work. I thought you were going to be my new protector. I guess not. Oh, well. He's thinking about it. Anyway, we got a brand new Comet belt to fill this thing because these pulleys are a little further apart than they used to be. So, let's see if we can put this on here. I'm doing it with one hand. I know I can do a 30 series with one hand. I don't know if I can do a 40 series, but we're going to try anyway. Nothing's bolted down tight. So yeah, actually wasn't too bad. The engine's going to go forward just a little bit. Looks a little loose, but I guess it's really not. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Good to go on that. I think that's going to fit out just fine. We did put some new tubes in the tires. The previous owner told me the tires are in good shape. I believed him. And I believe he was right, because that one had no tube in it, wouldn't hold air, it was actually off the rim. And the other side had a tube that was in it, but the tube had completely ripped the stem out of it. In fact, it's right here. The valve stem actually tore right out of there, and this is me. I actually ripped the hole in it myself when I was extracting it. But anyway, there's a hole around here somewhere, I don't see it. But the hole for the stem used to be, just ripped it right out of the, right out of the tube. So I got 2 brand new tubes. I stuffed them in the tires without even taking the tires off the rims. Just packed them in there, pull the stem out, fill it with air. 10 PSI, good to go. Front wheels here, Harbor Freight Specials. Chicken's been throwing dirt in it. Anyway, those fit on the front here, and that's actually what was on here to begin with. But now we have a matching set. So that's what we got going on there. So I just got to pull that nut off the end there. And then put that new wheel on there. Uh-oh. Now what's going on? Unbelievable, you guys. Did you get your ass kicked? Did he go in your... Look at all the dust in there. That's where he likes to dust bathe. So, I guess Bitti went in there, and he picked a fight with him. Okay. I'm just trying to record a go-kart video, you idiots. You guys gotta be fighting. This is why I bring the girls in, because the boys would just beat the hell out of them. You're very bad, Bitti. You are. Alright, we'll pack on this here. What I need to do is get the chain to align. You can see this sprocket here is too far to the left. But this one, I should be able to loosen that nut, and then I should be able to gently tap it and move it on that axle shaft. There's a bit of rust down there, so it's probably easier said than done, but we'll give it a little beating. I get in there and knock it over. The chain, yeah, it's kind of rusty. I'll see if I can clean it. Chances are I'm probably just going to replace it. We got a good budget for this thing. There's no sense in skimping and putting junk on here. This looks like the chain's probably not that old. In fact, it even has, it's not sticky or anything. I'll try to clean it. This actually might clean up. Try to clean it, soak it in some lube, and see if we can get it to come around. It just might. I gotta put some controls on here so that way I can stop the motor, of course. Need a kill switch. Pull starter's right here. It's nice that you flip the body up this way, and then you can reach down here with your right hand and pull start it. I did have it the other way previously, but with the body here, that of course wouldn't work. So that makes a whole lot more sense, just being over here this way doing that. The seat. I have one of our club members that's a, I don't know if it's offensive to say this, but she's a seamstress? Is that the right word to use nowadays, or is that considered demeaning? A tailor? Anyway, she can take the seat covers that were previously on this seat and simply, pull a stitching out and make a pattern, and then make some new seat covers. So that's what we're working on. And then the last thing I need to do, this is something I haven't touched yet ever since we postponed this. I took several weeks off of this project. In fact, I guess it's been about a month since we did the official postponement. But it's been so hot out here, it's just been impossible to get anything done anyway. But steering shafts obviously don't align. So this whole plate down here needs to be probably bent, possibly cut. I can bring this up through here, and then this up here, the steering wheels and the shaft is probably going to go that way. So it'll be more like a bus, where the steering wheel is, horizontal or perpendicular, parallel to the earth. So it'll be fun, steering like a bus. Since it is a bus after all, and distance and space and all that stuff, it's just to make this work. That's going to be the best way to do it. So what I'll do in here is I'll cut the weld out. It looks like it's just welded right in here to a plate. Move it, and then just tack it back in. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal. So that's some of the stuff that I'm working on here. I guess some of the stuff, geez, I don't even need to show you where I'm hammering on a sprocket. You know what I mean? I can just do that. So that's what I'm going to do. Just do it. I'll take care of that here, and then I'll get to looking at the steering. It looks like the wheel's not even straight on that shaft anyway. Well, the funny thing about the wheel is it only has a couple of degrees of turn, so you'll probably never even notice that. I wonder if that's bent or if that's part of the design. No, it looks like there's a crappy weld underneath there. That may have come from overseas, or may have been done for the previous owner, like this whole suspension work in here, which is just in horrible shape. I think they crashed it and bent it or even ripped it off. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to fix this. I don't mind the strut. I kind of like the strut idea. But I think what I'm going to do down here is I'll just grind off all the welds, re-weld everything properly, make sure that the bottom of this machine is planed off and flat. So that way we don't have one wheel. It's a little, high up in the air or cambered, kind of weird. Because that one already does look a little cambered weird. The little front camera is not bad on a go-kart, but yeah, it's cambered in a little bit. So I should be able to fix that just by repositioning that. And then that strut that's on there, which isn't supposed to be there because of those lousy welds that are around there. I guess the previous owner added those because that was the only way it was going to make it fit. I'll probably re-add a strut over here just to make it look, congruent, so it's the same on both sides. And then for whatever it's worth, it'll stiffen up the frame a little bit here in this corner. Once that's all said and done, I got to weld the tail on. And these are the tail pieces over here. You may remember the tail came out a considerable amount, but it was too far back for me to be able to get the body on. So I had to, cut it off. So what I'll do is I'll bring the frame in here and make the turn immediately, and then down to here, and then probably underneath into here somewhere, possibly even right off the back of here, is where I weld in the hinges that'll go to the body, so that way the whole body will flip up funny car style. And then wherever it sits up here, I'll make a bracket, and I'll have some kind of a little latch, spring-loaded thing, so you can pull a cable or a cord or something and unlatch it. And then maybe get some dampeners from like a trunk on a hatchback, and if I can find ones that are long enough and strong enough, I might be able to put them on the body, so that way when you unlatch it with a light lift, it'll pull itself into position. That's something I'll experiment with, but that's going to be last. The body truly is not that heavy, but it does have a lot of leverage on it. So if the hinge is in the back and you're lifting it here, it's going to feel kind of heavy, but not to a Duckman. I mean, geez, that doesn't feel like it's but maybe 20 pounds of lift. That's really not much at all. But again, if you're opening it and you're sitting here, you might be lifting somewhere in the middle, and that means you won't have the leverage to lift it from the end. So yeah, it's going to feel a little heavy. All right, well, let me start hacking and whacking on some of this stuff, see if we can make a little progress in this video. I want to see it running in video. I have not recorded it running yet. The engine does run. I did add oil to it and a splash of gas. And actually just splashed gas in the carburetor. I didn't even put it in a tank because I didn't want to let it sit. And it sputtered through some smoke out the exhaust and ran itself down. So it should be okay on that. I don't see any reasons the engine should have any issues at all. And that's the other reason why I didn't fuel up the tank, like I said, because it's sitting, and it may be sitting for a little while before I get to actually run it. I didn't want the gas to go bad. Whenever I leave a gas tank out in the heat, all the volatiles will just evaporate from it. And the fuel will start to smell like that awful bad gas very, very quickly. And I'm talking like in a matter of weeks. This Florida heat and sitting in the sun is no joke. Probably the same out in Arizona. But this black tank, man, those things get hot. And that fuel, like I said, will just, yeah, it turns to garbage very, very quickly. Including if I put it in a shed. Anything I put in the shed in a gas can doesn't last. Better off bringing the gas can in the garage, even though it's kind of a no-no. You're not supposed to put gas in the house. But I mean, technically it's a garage, I guess. But in there, it lasts a lot longer than it does out here. All right, I'm going to try to align that sprocket first. Let's see. Yeah, that wasn't too awfully bad. We got our chain alignment now. You see the shiny spot down there. I had to move the sprocket over about 3/4 of an inch. I heated it up with the torch. Just stick the crowbar in there and just boop, and it moved. It was simple as that, and then I just retightened the bolts on the sprocket. So that was not a big deal. I'm going to let it cool down now because it's a little piece of plastic that wraps around the axle to try to make it pretty. Probably because they always get rusty and ugly. But that'll solve that problem. So I'll put it back on in a minute. Chain alignment, or chain tension, I should say, is adjusted by sliding this plate forwards and back. And what I did not realize is that when I drilled the holes for the engine mounts, because it required 4 new ones, I didn't slot them. So, up underneath here, you see these holes are slotted that it goes into, and these are my new holes, and they're not slotted. So what I'll do here is I will drill another hole somewhere down here, and then I'll use a grinder to cut the slot out in between the holes. I'll do the same with these down here, so not a big deal. Little oversight, but there it is. There's our 4 holes. I'll just simply cut them back, I don't know, 1.5 inches or so, maybe even 2 inches. Simple as that. Okay, let's do it. You can see the new slots that I filed out here. Again, I just drilled on the end, then ran the angle grinder right through it. It only took a couple minutes on each one. I'm going to touch them up a little more with the file and make them straight as possible, because if they do skew a little bit, it might be hard pushing the thing forwards and back, but bolts do slot in these things now, as well as the 2 that are up here, so should be good to go on that. Here we go. Put this up here. Stick a bolt right in there. There you go. And then I think one goes right here. Okay, I should go forwards and back. There we go. Now we have our chain adjustment. Let's put that chain on here. If I can reach it. Again, I'll repeat it. I'm probably going to repeat this chain, or repeat the chain. I'm probably going to replace the chain. And I know if I don't keep saying that, somebody down in the comments isn't going to listen, and they're just going to say whatever they want to say. I'll probably do that anyway, because it's just what YouTube does. People don't listen. They talk like they know everything instead. My grandfather told me once, hey, don't talk. Just think, listen, and observe. And he used to tap my forehead when he said it. Okay. Ow, got me. Alright, here we go. And now we have a tension chain. I think this is going to work out just fine. Okay, fantastic. Didn't have to go very much either. Jeez, 1/4 inch. I cut those holes a lot longer than I needed to, but in cutting the holes, those angle grinder discs are just so big, you can only cut so small of a hole when you cut a slot. So it's better just to go long anyway. Besides, who knows who will do what with this in the future. We'll have a little more space for adjustability. Let's throw the engine up on there. Put that belt back on, and you know what? We can start bolting the engine down, actually. I think, yeah, I think it can actually stay in here from here out. I think that's going to about wrap it up for today. The belt is on. The chain now tensions properly. Look at that. Just the bolt's got to be tightened down. I got one in there, and I got one that's missing. I got to find them. I don't know where the hell I put them. I put them in the garage somewhere. And I got one on the other side over there. But this should fit. Everything's lined up the way it should be. That belt, I'm still convinced that this is the wrong size, even though I measured it and it measures out right. But if we have any problems with it, we'll just get a smaller size belt on there. Whatever the size it is, subtract half an inch and get one size smaller. It goes on and off too easily, and that might be a me problem. But it could just be too long of a belt too, so I don't know, I guess we'll see. And then I need to also get a longer bolt for in here. This bolt, for some reason, is too short. In fact, the threads on it are completely wrong too. It needs to be a thicker bolt. So, thread is probably right, but I think the diameter of it's wrong. So, I'll see what I got in my bolt bucket, and we'll get that straightened out too. But, like I said, I think we're going to wrap up this video for the moment. Duckies are playing in the pool. Well, both of them were. She just jumped out. She's running over there. There's Pecan. Nope. Yep. Pecan. 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 And over here's Peanut. He's picking the ground because he dumped the food bowl out because he's an idiot. You big dummy. And the girls are inside because I don't want them getting beaten up. I see you dumped your food out over here too. You guys are unbelievable. You know you're going in just a little while. You know why? Because Daddy has to go get his mail. Yeah. Daddy got to go pick up his mail. I got Eleanor's boards in today. They just updated the tracking and told me they just arrived. So I'm going to hurry out of here before it gets dark and before the mailbox, P.O. Box company closes. 2B Postal is their name. 2bpostal.com. Check them out, guys. Real great people over there if you're in the Pensacola area. And still have to do some electrical on here. Minor little gremlin problems. Here I just need to pretty much just zip tie everything. Also electrical. And then once that's zip tied and everything is no crisscrossing wires, then I'm going to try to fire it up. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, the engine is pretty well covered. Put the extra cover on it there because it is a vented deck lid and it can drip through, and I don't want it to do that. In fact, everything in there is still bright and shiny. I don't think it's getting wet in there at all. That's great. It also helps that I have this cover above me. It doesn't really stop the water, this just kind of deflects it. It does have a mist that comes through it. And we got to put our tail lights in, and the headlights got to go in, but this one's it's coming along. See what I mean? I got to just put the wires underneath the dashboard, tuck them under nice, organize them, and get them out of the way. I also need to replace the steering wheel on here. Looks like he's missing a shift knob. May or may not be in his boxes here. I'll have to have a look. Here's the carburetors we took off. I got to put the 34 ICTs on here. So that's part of the project. And all these mowers, man. All these mowers. Wild Bill dropped me off another one. This is his old mower. He's having problems with it. And he said, I don't want it anymore. I said, okay. Okay, I know the HIPA Store can help me with it. So we may do a mower run challenge in the future. These are my 3 mowers. Those 2 I was going to put them up for sale this season, but I went to start them and they wouldn't start. They ran fine last fall. I figured I'd wait till spring and try to sell them, and then I had nothing but issues with them. So I don't know. This is the one I use pretty much every week, and I got halfway through cutting my front lawn weeks ago when it was hotter than the blazes, and then it quit running. It also slung a rock into my ankle, busted my ankle open, and then slung another rock into my shin where I had the severe burn on it. I don't think I mentioned the burn. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned it in the previous videos, but I was lighting my tree stump over here. And you see I have this lovely gap underneath here to let the air in, so that way that tree stump, gets nice hot coals around it. And I came over here and threw a ball of paper in there, and I smelled real heavy, like tree sap, terpenes kind of smell. And I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't throw any gas or anything on it. And I went down here with my torch and just, and flame shot right out the end of this, just like a blowtorch, a big blowtorch. It went, and it flared up and hit my shin. And you can see the burn that it left me. It's just I guess it was a severe 2nd degree burn. It didn't like char my skin or anything, but I did get some blistering, and the blistering immediately peeled off, so it was pretty severe. And when I was cutting with that mower last week, well, not last week, a couple weeks ago, before the burn had completely flaked off, it hit another stone, which hit the burn, ripped off a huge chunk of flesh, and made it that much worse. And if those of you that ever had a large burn, you know that they hurt like hell. And in fact, for about a week and a half, I had to have my leg elevated because whenever I would stand up, all the fluids would go into my feet, which caused the leg to expand, which made the scab on it crack. You can actually see all the little cracks forming in it. It looked like the surface of one of Jupiter's moons. You guys know what it is. Say it down in the comments down below. One icy moon that has all the cracks on the surface. Anyway, it was like that. So anytime I would lift it, it'd be fine. Anytime I'd have to walk, like run to the bathroom or get dinner or something, it would hurt like hell. So I've been trying to just take it easy on that thing until, I guess it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when finally the giant scab on it just fell off and it just stopped hurting. It's not really been much of an issue since. But anyway, when I light that thing from here on out, although I don't smell it anymore, whenever I light it from here on out, I'm just going to take a ball of paper and get way back here and just throw it. I'm not doing that shit anymore. I'm afraid of that thing. I don't know what the hell was in that tree stump that made it do that, but yeah, it had a nice little whoosh, like I said, and it got me. It also singed my eyebrows, and it kind of burned the one side of my beard. Didn't make it crooked or anything, but I mean, it looked, there was like all ash on my face, you know, from the burnt hair. And what's funny is when it happened too, you know, 20 minutes later, I didn't even know I was hurting. I didn't feel a thing. I was fine, right? And some said it's your adrenaline or something. Like, I wasn't even adrenaline. It's like the whoosh happened so fast, I didn't have much of a reaction. I just kind of walked away. And 20 minutes later, it was like a severe sunburn. The worst sunburn you ever had in your life is what it felt like. And then it felt like somebody smacked it. So anyway, for a few hours, I took some ibuprofen and rubbed some lotion on it as best I could, where it wasn't, you know, shredded and the skin wasn't missing. Because the blistering then formed up in the next hour or so, and, well, my leg was a mess. But anyway, like I said, when we burn this thing, we're going to be a little more careful about lighting it, because I don't know what was the ignition source under there, but I did have a lot of cardboard, flat stacked cardboard, and I guess it was trapping the gases that were inside that tree stump. And anytime I ever burned that stump, in addition, it would get shiny afterwards, and it would be covered in flies. I would guess it's the sugars coming out of the stump. I don't know, I've never really burned a stump before. This is all a new experience to me, but every time I light this thing up, it gets a few inches smaller, and I just throw rubbish in here, just burnable rubbish. It's whatever I have from around the yard, whenever I put in the trash can. So rather than send it to the landfill, you know, I use it here. Alright, well I guess that's it. Likey, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to pluck that dingle belly so you get updates every time I upload a video. Hello birdies. Bark, bark. And thanks for watching. And we'll see you guys on the next go around with another update on this, probably as soon as next week, I would think. Maybe even midweek, who knows. I think I'm going to start flying through this thing now that the weather's getting a whole lot better. And now that we have running gear that has air in it, and now we have an engine that's properly mounted, I just was not happy with it before. It's good. Guess I got to just work out the steering and get the rest of the controls finalized, and I should be able to take it for a test ride. That'll be exciting. Oh yeah, and I got to tack the back side of the frame together. Big deal. Minor issues. Everything I can handle. I saw you guys. Look like you were falling asleep in your pool. I just filled that this morning. Look at the color of it already. And by tomorrow, it'll be like licorice green, shit water. That's the best way to describe it. It'll be disgusting. Yeah, these two will ruin it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next go-around.